Okay, this is Brent from TradeGuild.blogspot.com, and it is November 15th, 2006. And I've got about 18 stocks or so that we're going to take a look at. Some are requests from the tag board, some are positions that I've had, and ones we've recommended, and some new ones. Anyway, we've got a lot of ground to cover, like Jerry Reed sang in Smokey and the Bandit. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. So we're gonna get moving here with Smith and Wesson is first up, and I'm a long-time customer of Smith and Wesson, and I like their products. And they've had a really nice run, but I think we are getting probably, possibly towards, a top here. So yesterday in our video, we talked about triangles functioning as bottoms, as tops, and as continuation patterns, and I showed you a couple examples of those. Um, so I think Smith and Wesson falls into that category, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the lines in here for you so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's our upper trend line. This is just kind of rough, so just play along here if you don't mind. And basically, there's our lower trend line. So if we just step back and take a look at this, triangles, one of the things we see in triangles is diminishing volume into them. And that's what we're seeing here. But in this case, we're also seeing large spikes of big negative volume. So we got a breakdown through this triangle. I'm going to zoom in there for you. And typically, a lot of times what will happen is we'll get a breakdown on big volume, which we had here, and then we'll get a rally back up to the point of the triangle, to the apex on lighter volume, which we're getting in here. And typically that'll break down again from there. So if you wanted to short Smith and Wesson, and I know this was on Wall Strip and a lot of people liked it, I think a couple people didn't, but I may be wrong about that from my recollection. But anyway, I think if you want to short this would be a pretty good short right in here around the 1250 area, maybe 1280 up in there, and then you can always have a stop maybe over 1325, something like that. And if it breaks through that, then the trade's over. But this looks pretty bad. I mean, we're seeing a lot of distribution through September and October over here. We're seeing TSVs on a downward slope. So is money stream. If we look at MACD, there's a divergence here, so there's our top corresponding with that, and here's the higher high, and there we go. So to me, I think Smith & Wesson is heading for a decent correction, maybe down to this 200-day moving average here in blue. So we spent too much time on Smith & Wesson. Let's go ahead and move along. Here's the aerospace and defense, which I don't know why, but Smith & Wesson is classified in that. So this affected one of our shorts today, and we'll get to that in a minute. But it had a pretty good day. Aerospace and defense over here up 1.41%, and it's hitting this resistance right now. You can see this long wick on this candle. That's indicative of resistance. So we'll see what it does tomorrow. Maybe it busts through. Maybe it just breaks down and consolidates to that 50 area in yellow again. So HXL is in aerospace and defense products. Let me get a drink of water. My tongue's sticking to my lips here. All right. So this one, to me, looks like it was putting in a rounding bottom over here, which is nice. You can see that shape in the volume over here. You can see it even better if we go to like a 3-day chart. You see the rounding there and the rounding here. That's called a rounding bottom. That's a very nice thing if you want to go long. And it has broken out, or has gapped up over here, supported once in this area. So I think right now it looks like it's a little tired there. It looks like it might pull back maybe to this 22-day moving average. And at that point, I think this is worthy of consideration for a long position. Again, see how aerospace and defense does tomorrow. And here's our short that I was talking about. I think Orb is still a short. I don't see any reason to think that this stock is going higher. We had a big breakdown here on volume, but a rising tide lifts all boats, and Orb surely benefited from aerospace and defense over here, and they had a good day, so Orb was up today. Let's take a look at hourly chart real quick. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. And what I want to show you, let me zoom out a little bit more. I hope that's clear. What I want to show you is we have a little zone of resistance coming into play right over here. So we'll see if it backs down, continues to back down from that. One of the things that also keeps me kind of bullish on this is on my snap sheets. I have a fundamental data sheet. I have a whole bunch of different templates for snap sheets, but here's my fundamental data, and I have institutions here in red at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and raise that window up and move this value pointer out of the way, and you can see what happened here in Orb. From July, August, institutional sponsorship went from about 99% down here to under 90, and now just slightly above 90. So it was a pretty big drop, and we saw that drop, interestingly enough. Let's go back to Snapsheets over here. We saw that drop occurring while the stock was still going up. And that's one of the things that we talk about on the blog, is that smart money and mutual funds and the big guys are not selling, generally speaking, up here. They're feeding their shares out into this rally while there's still demand. The demand that is there allows them to sell their shares without driving the price up in the market, or actually without driving the price down in the market with a whole bunch of supply. So as long as there's demand, they can feed those shares out. When you get up to a top up here, there's going to be less demand, and they have more trouble doling out those shares. So that's what we saw on the Snapsheets chart, and I think it will probably correspond a little bit. We have a little, well, we have a little blank spot right in there. This is a little bit of a lagging indicator. But look what's going on now here in Orb. BOP looks really bad. Money Stream is hitting lows. I think Orb continues to be a short. As far as a stop on Orb, let's take another look. I think we're pretty close to a stop out level, actually. I think if it breaks through 1950, I think I'd have to stop out. So let's move along. We have a couple minutes left on this video. And this is Hill, Hill, and this is a request for Cliff, who has gone out and worked for Trade Guild. He's been posting our links on Yahoo message boards, and we've been getting some traffic from that, and I appreciate that, Cliff. So here we go. Hill, Hill Systems, Hill. It's gone through a consolidation phase over in here, and this stock really broke down over here on big volume. You can see over here, and it looks like it's just starting to stem the flow of that decline. Interestingly, it is supporting. Let me get rid of these markers. It's supporting at a level, as you can see over here. We've got support there, we've got support there, and really it's just a rising zone of support. So that also means it's a rising zone of demand. So should it hold this level, I think there's a possibility this one moves higher. It's not my favorite trade by a long shot, but we'll see what develops in it here. If it breaks down below this level, then as far as I'm concerned, it's all over. This volume over here, for me, is an instant stop. If I see volume in that, I'm in a long position, I see that, I stop out no matter what, generally speaking, almost always. Okay, so next up, we got time for one more, I think, in this video. Here's RAK. You know what? I'm going to come back to RAK. I want to spend a little more time on that. Here's TALX. This is TALX, and I believe TALX is looking like a good short candidate. Let's take a look at what happened here. We've got a breakdown on big volume, and look at the volume over here on this rally back up, and it's rallying, interestingly enough, into this rising or falling window gap. The gap between here and here, that's called a falling window in candlestick vernacular. And if we take a look at that on an hourly chart, I'm running out of time, but if we look at that on an hourly chart, you can see that we've got this zone really should act as resistance. So that's all the time I have for this video. I'm going to be back with a couple more. See you in a minute.